Today I want to talk about why dieting leads to binges and how to break free from that cycle. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my personal journey with binge eating and how I overcame that and created a healthy lifestyle and maintained a healthy weight for the last 9 years. So I've recently been away on holiday for a week. We went to a lovely cottage in Cornwall and spent a week there self-catering, having just a lovely time. And it's really made me reflect on how far I've come in terms of how I approach food and my mindset around food when I'm on holiday. So the previous version of me, 9 years ago, would have gone on holiday and seen it as an opportunity to just eat all of the foods that I wouldn't normally be allowed to eat. So I would stock up on lots of junk food, lots of sugar, organise takeaways, make sure that I was making the absolute most of this week of freedom. And what would happen was, after the first day or two of overindulging on these foods, because I would eat them to excess, I wouldn't just have an ice cream or a nice scone or something like that. I would eat all of the foods in an excessive amount. And then by day 2, I would feel crap. I would feel rubbish, and it would really almost spoil the holiday because my body would be used to eating in a certain way. And because I was then absolutely filling it with foods that didn't serve me, that didn't make me feel good, that were making my body probably quite inflamed, my body responded and I didn't feel good. And therefore I wasn't actually enjoying those holidays, but I would continue that cycle of eating until the very last moment that I could. And then possibly beyond the holiday, I would keep extending it. Or, I'll add an extra day on. And then the time would come when I would have to create a huge change and go on this extreme diet to kind of lose the weight that I'd put on and make myself feel better again. And it was a horrible cycle. And then I'd feel that I couldn't eat these things because they were the things that made me feel like this. But that wasn't the truth. That wasn't the case. It wasn't the foods that made me feel like that. It was my mindset around the foods and this approach that I had around binging on them that made me feel rubbish, not the foods. So today, if you feel in a similar situation and you go on holiday and binge, or you get to the weekend and you binge, or you have a certain day where you binge or feel like it's a day off, I want to help you overcome that and for you to feel like every day is your lifestyle. There's no being on a plan or off a plan or on a diet and off a diet. Every day is your lifestyle. So you never have to go on a diet ever again. So today I'm going to show you how I've done that and how you can do that too. So the first thing I did was I stopped restricting certain foods. I gave myself full permission to eat whatever foods I want to eat on whatever day I want to eat them. And the moment that I did that, those foods stopped having a power over me. And actually, when I thought about what my goals were and thought about eating those foods, 99% of the time, those foods didn't align with my goals. And my goals were all about how I wanted to feel, how I want to treat my body with respect, how I want to age and have a physical body that is able to do as much as possible for as long as possible. And actually, eating certain foods doesn't align with that lifestyle. So it almost took them off it took them off the pedestal. And the fact that I was making that choice, nobody else was telling me that, I had the full control and the full freedom to choose those foods if I wanted to have them, just completely took them off the pedestal. And actually, I didn't really fancy them most of the time. And and at first I wasn't sure because it felt like, you feel like a kid in a sweet shop when you first give yourself this permission, and it can lead to eating things in excessive amounts to start with. And actually that's okay, because the important thing is that we reflect So if we say, right, you've got full permission to eat whatever you want, you're like, right, great, I've just really been craving Krispy Kreme donuts. So you go out to Asda, you get a big box of Krispy Kreme donuts and you eat them all. You feel like shit, don't you? And actually, your reflection is then going to be, well, that actually wasn't worth it. And each time that happens, it's really important that we reflect on how things have made us feel. Because the truth is, eating certain foods, especially when we overeat them, does not feel good. Okay? So then we ask ourselves the question, why would we want to eat them? Why have we given them this such hierarchy of foods that are, so desired when they actually make us feel like crap? And it's remembering that it doesn't feel good to eat loads of rubbish. And the more that you do it, the more that cements that idea in your head. The thing that you want to avoid doing is just sweeping it under the carpet, saying things like, I'm going to write off the day and start again tomorrow. Because what we do then is we don't allow ourselves to reflect on how this has made us feel. And therefore, we don't have that memory when it comes up again next time. And it also makes us feel that underlying sense of guilt, which again leads us into a cycle of shame. And therefore, when we feel ashamed of ourselves, we tend to disrespect ourselves by eating and self-sabotaging things that we know aren't serving us. And what we want to do is we want to get to the point where, and this is a term that I use quite a lot, we eat whatever we want, but it's 10 out of 10 worth it. So, for example, I've just been on holiday and I stopped at a services on the way to Cornwall. And I said, and I do this every time I go to choose food when I'm out. And I was hungry for breakfast, but I wasn't starving. But I would have eaten if had there been a nicer option. But it was one of these old-fashioned services, and there just wasn't anything that was particularly great. And for me, it has to be, and this is what I always use, is 10 out of 10 worth it. I'm not going to eat something unless it's 10 out of 10 worth it to me. So I had a look round, there wasn't really anything that I fancied, and I therefore made a decision to wait till we got to the next services and have something that was truly 10 out of 10 worth it to me. Now, what I would have done in the past is just get anything or use it as an opportunity to say, oh no, well, I'll have to cheat on my diet, get some rubbish that doesn't really serve me, that I thought that I wanted but made me feel rubbish, and then I would feel really guilty. So using that analogy of 10 out of 10, asking it's not an analogy, but asking yourself, is this thing 10 out of 10 worth it? And unless it is, we say no to it. But it also, by asking ourselves if something is 10 out of 10 worth it, it gives us the freedom to have the things that truly are. So for me, I found a gorgeous independent bakery while I was away, and they had these almond croissants, and those are 10 out of 10 worth it. And I had them twice. I had 2 days because I went back because they were so good. And that didn't mean that I'd ruined my diet or I'd fallen off plan. I just had something because I fancied it and I enjoyed it, and I moved on with my day, continuing on with the exact same habits that I normally have. And having that freedom is so powerful, and it's what allows this to be a lifestyle rather than creating this barrier between normal life and holidays, or when you're away, or when you've got, and they're just excuses to eat what you really want to eat. But you could do that every day. So what happens when you do allow yourself that food freedom all year round? When you get on holiday, you don't feel any different. I'm asking myself every day when it comes to food choices, is this 10 out of 10 worth it? Now, most of the time I'm just sticking to my normal routine of meals anyway, so I'm not saying that every single time I eat. But if something comes up, like, I don't know, it's a kid's birthday party. I've got a 5-year-old, so I'm at a lot of kids' birthday parties, and I'm offered a slice of birthday cake. I'm asking myself mentally, is this 10 out of 10 worth it? And sometimes do you know what it properly is? Some of those kids' birthday cakes are pretty amazing, and I'll have it. And then some of the time, it really isn't. It's some cheap Aldi birthday cake. I don't want that. And I'll say, no, thank you. They don't care. A lot of people will struggle with saying no to things, especially when it's offered by other people, because you don't want to be seen as being rude. And maybe I'll do another YouTube video on that. Let me know. But yeah, I'm asking myself, is it 10 out of 10 worth it? If it's not, I'm saying no. If it is, I'm saying yes. And that 10 out of 10 worth it is against my current goals. So if I've got a fat loss goal, then I might be less likely, something might only be 8 out of 10 worth it because my goal is more important. But it's me that has the power to choose. I have that freedom, and that is the key. Giving yourself that power, that freedom to choose foods, meals, make choices that align with your goals and who you want to be. Having that self-respect for yourself to make those choices, to stop telling yourself that you can't have things, that you're on a diet, that you've got to be really, really strict, but putting the power back into your hands. So try it. Give yourself permission to eat what you want to eat that aligns with your goal and see what difference it makes. And if you found this helpful, or you feel like you need more support with your goals, then I have an online community called the Glow Method, where I teach all of my methods in terms of creating a healthy lifestyle, becoming your healthiest, best version of yourself, how you can achieve fat loss without making restrictions and cutting things out, and really changing your life so that you feel your very best and you live your longest life for as long as possible. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'll pop the link down below, and come and join us in the Glow Method, because I would love to share more with you. But until next time, I'm going to be uploading videos like this every single week, once a week. So if you found this useful and you'd like to see more, then please do give it a like and hit the subscribe button, and I'd love to see you again next week.